So let's talk about that fan forum last night. Fantastic event, and hopefully raised a lot of money for charity. I just wish we didn't have to do it. Hello and welcome to this video. If you could like, share, and subscribe to the channel, much appreciate it. Like help the algorithm, sharing gets in front of people's faces, and subscribing lets me know you like the channel. Hit that notification bell to let you know when video go live. So Sheffield Wednesday last night had a fan forum by the Sheffield Wednesday Supporter Trust to find out what the hell is actually going on and give us some new information. So it started off by the people were getting welcomed by the trust chair, Ian, and just saying thank you for coming and saying that one of the things was you don't choose when to choose you, and he completely right there. And the thing is, the growing concern has been how the financial situation looked and for how it's been. And recently it got really bad, as we already know. Everything at the minute is so up in the air. It's unbelievable at the minute. And the thing is, they started it out by doing all the facts and figures and having a look. And to be fair, he stopped really putting money into the club back in 2018. There are only 2 years where he puts quote a figure of £2 million a month into the club. The actual figure is close to about 1.2 million is what he's actually put in. In 2020, Chansiri did not put any money into the club. Fans have invested about 129.5 million into the club since 2015. The investment is now more than what the chairman put in. Now, people will turn around and go, well, he paid this, he's done this, he's paying this each month. He's not really not put stuff, but he's still, at the end of the day, having that situation where it's still the fans that are putting a lot of money. This whole £2 million myth has now been debunked. There's no excuse for not paying wages, which is a thing. Fans and the commercial sponsors put enough money to pay wages and have some left over. The fact that our commercial stuff is just not really cutting anything to pay anything. And the thing is, the fact that we've been living off like cash reserve for a while, I think it's something like 8% of the cash reserve is where what we had or got to do like the player wage and stuff. That's ridiculous. He's not been spending money on players, but the wages are being covered by fans and sponsors and not on instructor. Chairman need to account where the money is going. 2018 DC stopped spending. For interest the outgoing investment. Chansiri does not have the cash to sustain Wednesday as a championship, showed by cash reserve being low, which only 8% is now used for wages, which is ridiculous. And the thing is, people are asking about HMRC. What's going to happen there? Because if we miss it, we don't know if we paid next month, the following month that have been, but that will be due sooner than later. And it's like you've got to try and look at a way of how HMRC get paid. You've got to think about what businesses he got away from the football club, what he got, and how are they doing. It's not enough. The whole point is that there isn't enough to cover stuff. Now, the thing is, Wednesday as a whole, if you actually looked at Wednesday as a whole, Wednesday is actually in a really good position because there's no debt. The debt is actually on DC. The debt's in his name, not the club's name. So in that sense, it's really good. But the problem is the main debtor, a creditor to the club, is Chansiri, which that's what makes it harder for Wednesday to move him on, because he's got a lot of the money wrapped up in stuff. And it was interesting when you were looking at the financial stuff and seeing how things go. And a lot of people said there's stuff that it's not great dealing with him. It's very difficult to deal with him. And that's something that's going to come into play. Chris Turner said he said, I'm a Wednesday fan, not a net player or manager. We haven't got a team for next season. Looks like we might not have a manager. So one of our best young players, and this man got to go. And he did make it very clear that there is no future with Chansiri at the helm. It really isn't. There isn't any future with him there, and he said it could take a long time to get him out, and it could mean we go down the leagues before he goes out. Who knows? And that's something that kind of scary, and you don't really want to have that said. But there is a scary point that we could go further down the league, and if that's the case, that's slightly worrying because we don't have the resources. Let's be brutally honest. Even if we went down lower leagues, we'd be pulling in big gate numbers. But even then, you're talking a long time just to get us back potentially to where we should be. And I think that's a real hard situation to put ourselves in. And I'm all for trying to get us back if that happened, and getting him gone. But it won't be a fun job to do so. And it'll be very, very difficult to do. And the thing is, the whole thing of trying to get him out, it's a very difficult step. You've got to make sure so he comes in with the right bid that he seems acceptable. Now, 1867 news, Simon popped up. He said, for the world, when we spoke to some of the biggest boat brokers in the world, some of the biggest boat agencies in the world, there have been interest from a number of parties interested by people have put off by DC and the way he does business. The sum total of all the efforts in one consort is left to the original one. I'm acting as a conduit, passing messages back and forth between the two parties. 1.5 to 2 times turnover assumes the value of the club in the championship. This does not take into account the nature of the asset, which is currently a going concern. Sheffield went it as it currently is an opportunity actually make money in football and sustain in the Premier League. Now, they spoke about how we would sustain it, looked at the Sunderland model, looked at how things are. And the thing is, like they said, they're not going to go in there and bash DC because, especially Simon got a actual conversation with DC. And it's interesting because it's now starting to look like DC even knows he needs to sell now. It's starting to look more and more that DC cannot afford to do that and he needs to sell. So eventually, it's finally starting to click that his time at the club is gone. But the problem is, it's what you want for it. The thing is, the initial bids were worth every penny, upfront cash. Further add-ons, he would have also had the true value of the club up front and no further add-ons. And future add-ons, sorry. Any contribution deal has been discussed, no dice. Everyone knew the wages need to be paid. The consultant were more happy to provide money up front to pay wages. Chansiri did come back a long way, but the two parties were still miles off. Look at the positive though. The club is for sale in a sense because he is having to look at it that way. Chansiri is in agreement with the club and does not. It does need to be sold. It's just a case of when, who, and how it gets sold. But the problem is he got to pick up the phone. This has been a line that I said for a long, long time. You have to pick up the phone. With DC, it's a case of making sure you can get him on the blower and getting a conversation. That has always probably been one of the hardest things for people to try and do with DC. And the thing is, it's difficult. Like, with the EFL rules, you can't put too much money in. You can operate at a 30 million loss. So whatever happens, whoever comes in, they're going to be working off a disadvantage anyway if you were buying like another club, because we have got EFL charges. We know we've got EFL charges coming up. The EFL charges, we know what we've breached. We are definitely going to be embargoed for either a 3-season window or maybe a 2-season window. Some people asked about admin. Is admin a possibility? It is and it isn't at the same time. And they spoke about the winding up stuff as well with HMRC, something that could happen, but it takes a while to get there. Maybe we're a month, maybe we're 2 months behind on paying HMRC. We don't know. I urge people to go look at the Better Wednesday vision, outline their expectation for the club and how they can do stuff. I urge everyone to go give that a little gander. Very useful. It gives you a good idea what they're trying to do and what they want to do and how things are going to be. But the thing is, the there's a lot of things that have been said and how things have been talked about. They spoke about how the fan engagement panel has been cancelled. There isn't one now. There isn't one. They don't know if there's going to be another one. So the engagement panel, there isn't one for June now. So there's no new date to be hit. And you got to remember, people like Trevor, he's just doing his job. There's no one really to blame. He'd been told to cancel it, so he cancelled it. You look at the stick like some of the armed forces have got. Nigel from the armed forces said, you look at what they've done and how they have to fund their own kits and stuff when they've gone and done events and stuff because the club won't touch it. The stuff that Sheffield United have done with the armed forces, their armed force groups is so much better than what they've done with everyone else. And it's really interesting. The FL minutes are going to be signed off tomorrow, which is today. So they're going to get signed off and see what happened. But they said, look who's in attendance with the FL. Look at who talking about. They spoke about the owner's director. It's not off the table, but it's not on the table at the moment. That's the big thing there. It's not there to have yet, so we know that you can't have that yet. Basically, we know what we broke. Non-payers are players. Payment made to accordance with standard play contract and failed to play the football creditors. DC have been charged with the 30-day period and not consulting, but cumulative. Free reaction ban would basically be no purchase for anything, no fees, no anything other than wages on players. Cannot be lifted even if Chancery finds the money and pays. Can be appealed and reduced longevity but cannot be removed. EFL regulation states that contract employment is legally between a club and players, not owners or players. Player meaning any changes arrive from defaulting the club is on the hook and not the owner. So there'll be more to speak about that soon as well. Chris Turner made it quite clear. Chancery is the worst chairman we've ever had. And he's right, there's literally no way of getting past that. He's just the worst one. John Newsom spoke very well as well, spoke about how he's just a lad from Sheffield, from Winterbank, who's got lucky to play for, but even he's had it where he dealt with Chancery in an agent capacity, and he said how the goalposts change and move, and there's unrealistic goals that he wants to do when dealing with him, and said it's just a nightmare to deal with the man, and said he feels for anyone who is having to deal with Chancery. But the big thing out of this you've got to see is that DC, it's sounding more and more likely that DC is now realizing that he's in a position that he needs to sell. He knows he needs to sell. He doesn't have much of a bargaining tool now, and he needs to pick the phone up. Whoever's wanting to get up, we know of one consortium that publicly come out. There may be a couple more. There was last night they spoke about there might have been a Saudi interest. There might have been someone else. There was a broker company to try and broker the deal. And right now we're in that kind of situation now where we are in limbo still. We're now getting to, I believe it's 13 days. People have not been paid, which again, it's just ridiculous and shouldn't be a thing, but it is. And these need to get paid. They need to get paid, and they need to get paid quickly. So we're going to have to see what happens. It's going to be a long, old process. And it's going to be really difficult to find a positive next season. And I think if the possibility that DC get sold the club and stuff, even if the season's not great, knowing that there's a new way of moving forward, I think that will be a big positive for everybody involved with the club. Well done to the Trust last night to running that event and giving us an idea of what's going on, which is nice to see. It's nice to have a little bit of a idea of where they're at and stuff. I would highly, highly suggest that the Trust do these every 3 months to every 6. to give us an idea of what's going on again. Every 3 to 6 months, you do another fan forum to give an update, to give people a chance to talk, gives another idea of how everything's going. I think that would be a good idea to have it that way. But yeah, that's where we're at. So right now, we are stuck in the same situation we were before. We have a little bit more information. What DC's doing and done is just ridiculous. Let's be brutally honest before we go into anything. We're funding it. We've been funding more than he has done. And the fact that that's the case, it's going to be really interesting to see. And at the end of the day, it's still not looking good as well because the next 2-week wages are due again soon, and we're still not paid the first lot. So they're going to have to pay what they got first and then pay that. And then you could have a situation in July, we could have no players because of FIFA regulations. FIFA regulations saying that they don't need to technically, once they've got 2 months of non-payment, they can just leave. So where does that then leave us? How does that leave us to next season? Is that us saying goodbye to any kind of season next season at all? Thank you for watching, guys. This has been a brief summary, the best I could do. Please, if you got this far, thank you very much. I hope this summary is okay. But we're all Wednesday, aren't we? I'm going to do a live tonight. We're going to have a live stream to speak about this with you all and have all your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section, and we'll have a conversation. I might try and do it as a call in. I don't know yet. I'll see. But that's where we're at. We're all Wednesday, aren't we? Up the hours, and let's see what happens next.